What's going on, everyone? We got some breaking news in regards to the Deshaun Watson suspension. On Monday, Judge Sue L. Robinson, the independent disciplinary officer jointly appointed by the NFL and NFL Players Association, issued her ruling in the personal conduct policy matter regarding Deshaun Watson. Under the 2020 NFL-NFLPA collective bargaining agreement, the factual findings of the disciplinary officer are binding and may not be appealed. Judge Robinson found that Mr. Watson violated the NFL's personal conduct policy on multiple occasions and suspended him for 6 games. The CBA affords the NFL or NFLPA the rights to appeal the discipline imposed by the disciplinary officer. Such an appeal must be filed within 3 days and would be heard by the commissioner or his designee. The NFL notified the NFLPA that it will appeal Judge Robinson's disciplinary decision and file its briefings this afternoon. Commissioner Roger Goodell will determine who will hear that appeal. Now, Deshaun Watson was given a 6-game suspension, and now the NFL is doing the right thing finally. I mean, how many times, time and time again, have we seen the NFL just let these players get away with stuff? And what Deshaun Watson did is absolutely grotesque. I mean, seriously, a 6-game suspension is nothing. It is. It's a slap on the wrist when it comes to what Deshaun Watson's allegations were and what he did. And we have seen the NFL just kind of cave on these things time and time again for its players. And so it's nice to see the NFL finally doing what's right and appealing this decision and deciding we're going to do more. We want more for Deshaun Watson as far as a suspension goes. Now, the NFL is appealing for an definitive suspension that would be a minimum of 1 year, but perhaps more significant given the structure of Watson's contract. Source tells me the NFL appeal will also include a monetary fine. Money is now a significant part of the equation, per Jeff Darlington. So again, the NFL is going after him for at least 1 year and want definitive and indefinitive suspension to last for until the NFL decides, like, hey, you can come back in the league. There also will be fines that Deshaun Watson would have to pay, as well as, contract issues, things like that. So again, this is great news because Deshaun Watson and many other players in the NFL, we have seen time and time again, basically, again, just get slaps on the wrist over some serious matters. And we see the NFL go to great lengths to fine and, suspend players for things that are mishaps on the field or, mishaps that have to do with the game. And I understand the NFL needs to keep up the integrity of the game, but that goes into the players' antics off the field. And when a player does something that impacts the NFL, that should be treated as such. And especially when the impact is as significant as Deshaun Watson. I mean, you're talking the Houston Texans had to settle like 32 lawsuits. That's insane. And were all those lawsuits justified? Like, did he really do that to that many people? Who knows, right? Could some of those people have just gotten on board because, it was an easy cash grab, it was an easy moment, and we've seen things like that happen, right? An attorney, they find 6, 7 women, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe there's more out there, hint, hint, wink, wink, and all of a sudden you have these people coming out of the woodworks, and it becomes a witch hunt. Is that a possibility of what happened with Deshaun Watson? Absolutely. But nonetheless, he still did that to however many people he did that to. And I have to kind of tiptoe around this because YouTube is very careful when it comes to certain words and things like that. But you know what he did. And the fact that he got this slap on the wrist, I think it's great to see the NFL finally making a change and showing, like, this isn't a game anymore. Like, what you did is beyond okay, and actually doing stuff that is justified, right? You're the NFL. It's time to make a stand. It's time to show that you're not just going to let these players get away with these heinous crimes. But just for further clarification, the NFLPA has until Friday to file its response to the NFL's appeal. There's no timetable on when the appeal process will be complete per sources. So this could really get drawn out. Now, the implications as far as this goes is, what will the ruling actually be? How long will it be before that ruling actually takes place? And how how will his suspension be served in the meantime, which is a big thing. And based on these rulings, and I imagine the NFL is going to want to kind of get this done as soon as possible. Goodell or one of his designees, they'll end up going and handling this, and they'll get the right of court, get the right appeals, all of that stuff. They'll go through the process, right? They're going to do what they have to do. But the problem is that there are implications if Deshaun Watson decides and his team, which very likely they're going to appeal, because why not, right? You're not just going to sit back and let them give you a year's suspension, just say, okay, fine, it's justified, right? So they're going to file an appeal. It's going to be a big matter. I mean, this isn't going anywhere likely anytime soon. We're getting close to the season. I mean, the impact that this is going to have on the Browns is crazy. Like who's going to be their starting quarterback? Browns, they do have Jacoby Brissett that can, play serviceable. But I mean, the Browns, I don't feel sorry for them. They did this to themselves. They went and got Deshaun Watson, knowing all of the implications, knowing he was likely to be suspended, knowing what the Texans had to do as far as like the civil suits and things like that went. Like it's one of those things. Like I don't feel sorry for the Cleveland Browns whatsoever. They're probably going to implode this year. This is going to be a locker room nightmare. This thing's going to get dragged on for probably another several months, things like that. And I think a 1-year suspension is still a slap on the wrist for what he did and what he did to so many people and the impact that he's had on all of those people's lives. And I hope that the NFL keeps pushing and really tries to go for the jugular here in many ways. I really hope that, and I hope that they prevail. But this is what I was talking about in the previous video. I can even link that video down in the description below if you want to check it out after this video. In regards to the 6-game suspension. I was saying, if you're the NFL, you need to appeal this, and you need to give them a proper fine. Because the original report was like, we respect the decision, this, that, and the other, we'll honor it. And my big thing was like, if you're the NFL, you have to do what they just did. You have to go appeal the decision, try to give him in a longer sentence, whether it's a year, whether you could get several years, whatever. Because now you did what you had to do. You showed that you're not just going to sit back and let these players get away with stuff. And if you lose and Deshaun Watson wins and he gets the 6-game suspension or whatever, or say he gets 3, or, let's say it gets overturned entirely. At least if you're the NFL, you can say, hey, we did the right thing. We tried. We didn't just sit back and do what we usually do. We tried to make an impact and show this isn't a game. Like what you did isn't football. That is beyond what this game is about. And you took advantage in so many ways with so many people. And, kick them out of the league. Seriously, like I don't think that's going to happen, but kick him out of the league. Like, you don't need that in the game of football. You don't need a guy like Deshaun Watson. He is an incredible talent. He's still young. He's a team that could probably be a Super Bowl level quarterback. But he's a guy that threw his life away and made decisions that impacted people's lives. Whether it's 2, 7, or all 60 or 70 people that were originally a part of this thing, however many it was. Whatever the number actually is, he still did something that he should have never have done and been in the position with, and he needs to learn his lesson. The problem is celebrities and athletes and this, that, and the other, they do these silly things and they get away with it because of their celebrity, because of their stardom, because of stuff like that, because they have the money to get rid of it, and they just walk on, and we see them do time and time again. It blows me away how many athletes have thrown their careers away over just silliness. Even in the NBA, look at guys like Gilbert Arenas. It was like $100 bet or something like that. It blows my mind that you have these people that are living the dream that people would die for, work their tails off, go through the grinds, outperform, have God-given talent, whatever you want to call it, do everything they can to achieve this height, and then they do decisions like this just to throw it away. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't, and there's a lot of players in the history of all sports that have been professionals and have done the right things. And I mean, look at guys like LeBron. LeBron might be the biggest star ever in our history, and that dude doesn't have as much as a parking ticket. However you feel about LeBron, the guy is about as upstanding of a role model as you could have. And the NFL can't let something like this slide, because if you let something like this slide, it has resounding effects throughout the league. It gives a precedent for other players, in the future to look at that and go, well, that was a lot worse than what he did. And you're giving him 4 games, but he only got, 6, or he only got 3. Like, how does that justify it? It becomes a precedent that you don't want if you're the NFL. Because unfortunately, Deshaun Watson isn't the first and he isn't the last to do a knucklehead decision and just, not pay the consequences. And he needs to pay the consequences. Like I said, there's no room for somebody like this in the NFL. As great of a talent as he is, you should have made better decisions. You're a grown man. You're an adult. You had life on a silver platter, and you decided to throw it all away. I don't feel sorry for somebody like him, and I don't feel sorry for the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns did this and made this trade and acquired him, knowing that he was likely going to be suspended. But they did it because they thought that Deshaun Watson was just essentially going to get away with it, because so many players get away with it. And so I hope that the NFL prevails, and I hope that Deshaun Watson is sitting there with, a year-plus suspension. I mean, I wouldn't care if he's never allowed in the NBA again. I mean, people have gotten in more trouble for less. So good, let him learn a lesson. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think, yes, good, the NFL's finally doing what they need to do? They're finally going after somebody that they should be going after. They need to start setting this precedent of, like, you can't do this no more. Or do you think no? You think, like, he was given the 6-game suspension, let him serve the 6-game suspension and move on. I don't really see that as an argument, given what he did and just the magnitude in which he did it. I mean, I thought 6 games was a slap on the wrist, and many people felt that way. Many people did. I mean, you do a crime, you do the time. And the thing is that, like, anybody else, if you were just a normal person and you weren't Deshaun Watson, the star with, $100 million and the ability to go and hire high-powered attorney stuff, you'd be sitting in prison for the rest of your life. And this guy isn't going to do this guy isn't going to do nothing. This guy's going to get, at worst, a year suspension. He's still going to be worth $100 million. And he's going to get back to, business as usual next season. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand the justification. But anyway, however you feel about it, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.